Hello everyone. Today we will learn what are the different types of members of a class in a Java class in a Java. Okay. So in Java basically we have three different types of members, that is static member, non-static member and a local members. So what is static members? These members are declared within a class but outside of a method or a constructor or a block. So these members reside within a class but outside of any method or a constructor or any block. They are always declared using a keyword static. They are accessed using a class name. So what is the syntax used to access these static members? Class name dot member name. If I have a class called class A, and within that if I have a static member static int x, then if I want to access that outside of this class, then class A dot x, since this x is a static variable. They have their default values when no values are assigned. So if you are not initialized with any values, this holds the default values. We will see all these different statement what we have referred here in the practical program. Next one we have is non-static members. What are non-static members? These are also members of a class. They are declared within a class but outside of method or a constructor or any block. They are not declared using any keywords. So in static we use static keyword, whereas in non-static we don't use any type of words to define their non-static. They are accessed using a object. So what is the syntax? Object dot member name. They have their default values when no values are assigned. So this is also we'll see in a practical how we are going to make use of these non-static members and how they get default values, etc. So just to roughly give a small example, again if I have a class A and here I am not using any static keyword, so int x is there, then in another class B, if I want to make use of the x of class A, I have to create an object of class A in class B, that is A object as a object variable is equal to new A. So this means that we are creating a new object of class A, and now with the object reference variable obj dot x, I can say like that. So this is the one of the example. We will see in detail in the next session. So what are local variables? These are members of a class which is declared within a method, whereas these two are outside of a method, whereas local variable is within a method, within a constructor or within any block. These are not declared using any keyword, so no keyword is used. These are accessed using a member name within the same block of code. Means just like how we have defined int x is equal to 10, so within the same block we will be able to utilize the variable value. No need of class name or no need of any object creation. So the syntax is same, just a member name. And these local variables do not hold default values when no values are assigned. So now let's proceed towards a practical learning of these concept. So this main class will keep it at last. First we will have class test, and here first we'll start with the static member static index, then I have int y. Okay, so one we have is static member and another one is non-static member. Let's also create one method, void sample method, to declare our local variable within the method. Okay, here we will say int z. Okay, and if you clearly observe here, this sample method is of type non-static because we have not used any keyword. Either I can make it as a static or non-static, so just for our purpose I just made it non-static method. Okay, so now we'll initialize this with some values. X is equal to 10, y is equal to 20, z is equal to 30. So what we learnt in the previous or earlier time is, in order to access static member we need to make use of the method, we need to make use of a class name. In order to access non-static member we need to create an object, and the object name, with the help of object name we can access it. Whereas in local we no need of anything like class name or object name, we can directly access it. So in this sample method I'll just use a print statement to just say value of z. So I'll just say z here, but what I'll do, I'll have a main method in my main class where here I will say value of x is equal to what is the class name, test dot. So it will automatically show all the static variable attached to that class. So x is our static variable attached to the class test. Okay, same way what we need to do here is we need to create an object of test in order to access non-static variable y. So let's do that. Test obj t is equal to new test, and now with the help of object t, object name, we can access y, non-static variable. So let's use the system out print statement. Here we will say value of y is equal to, now we can observe obj t dot y. Okay, and let's also call out this sample method so that this statement gets printed in our main method. In order to access the non-static member, it is a non-static method, this is non-static variable. So but the way of accessing is same, whether it is a variable or whether it is a method. So how to access non-static method? Object name dot member name, we have sample method just coming out. The intention of calling this is to print this local variable of the sample method. So by which now we are all printing test dot x, that is value of x is equal to 10, value of y is equal to 20, and with this method call value of z is equal to 30. This is the outcome we are expecting. So let's run this. So this is the output. Value of x is 10, value of y is 20, value of z is 30. And what else we saw in our class is okay, they have their default values when no values are assigned, right? So we'll make one more class. Static members default values. So here what we will do is we'll keep the main class to the bottom. Here we will say class test, and yeah, so we will define all the different types of data types for our variables using static keyword static byte b. So it is case sensitive, so make use of the small lowercase. Static short s, static int I. So I'm using static keyword for all the different types of data type variable. So this is byte type, short type, int, integer type, long, static long L, static double D, static float F, static char C, static boolean bb. So I have defined all the different types of data types, static variables, and I have not initialized with any values. So when we have a static variable which is not defined to any, which is not initialized to any values, it will store their default values. We will see that in our output. Let's have a main method in our main class, and here what we will do, we will use a system out print statement. We will say value of b we have to use a class name test.b. If you see, all the static members have loaded for a test class. So byte, char, double, float, int, long, short, boolean. So all the static variables got loaded. So our purpose is byte, close that. For a ease of writing, just copy paste. Value of is test.s, value of I test.I, value of L test.L, then value of double D test.D, float F test.F, then char C test.c boolean bb test.bb. Okay, so let's erase the previous output and save this. So main, we have used the test method class name previously, so test, I'll say a. So yeah, I have to use it everywhere, test.a. Okay, so what are we observing here is it will print their default values for byte, short, int, long, double, float, char and boolean for all different types. Okay, so for byte it is 0, short it is 0, integer 0, for long default value is 0, for double 0.0, for float also 0.0. This is char is space I believe, and then false is the boolean. Okay, so this is the default value gets printed for static variables, and this is same for also non-static variable. Let's also do that. New class non-static members default values, non-static members default values. So what we will do, we'll try to define a class here. Class test b. What we will do, we'll copy the same set of data types, but we remove the static keyword as it is for non-static. Okay, and here, since it is non-static member, we have to create an object of a class. Test b obj t is equal to new test b. Obj t dot b. Yeah, so let's use a system out print statement. Value of b obj t dot b. So here also all the non-static variables gets loaded for a object name. Okay, so in our case we will use b. Let me copy this and use it for value of s, value of I, value of l. So this is s, this is I, this is l. Then we have t, object t t, then for float object t dot float f, c object t dot c dot c, then object bb dot t dot bb. Okay, so let me remove the previous output, control save, then run this. So again, value of b 0, that is byte short, integer long 0, and then double 0.0, float 0.0, c space, and boolean false. So this is same for static and non-static. That's what we saw in the theory. They have default values when no values are assigned. So what we'll do here, in our previous class, we'll just do some modification and observe what will happen here. Okay, so here we have integer x, and which is a static, and non-static int y, and whereas we have int z as a local variable. So let's change some values here in the main class. Okay, how do I do that is, for static variable test dot x is equal to 100. Okay, then non-static variable, that is object t dot y is equal to 200. Okay, and then okay, let's play around with the static or non-static. Okay, because the scope of this local variable is only within this, and which way only here only we can change and as mean update or edit within the scope of the method block. Okay, let's understand how the static and non-static are differed. So what I'm doing, so just after we printed one time, so I'm planning to change the static variable and printing it now. Okay, value of x after changed, after change, test dot x. Okay, similarly value of y, I think I need to make it a small here, value of x, value of y after change, this is test, this will be obj t dot y. Okay, and also observe one more thing I'm going to do here, test obj tt is equal to new obj new test, and value of y after new object created is equal to obj tt dot y. So what I'm trying to do here is, so first time in our custom class here we defined static variable, declared and initialized with 10, we declared a non-static variable y initialized with 20, and we have a method block inside of which we declared a local variable. Okay, we are not talking much about local variable now, but we are focusing on static and non-static. And in our main class, members of class, first time we printed value of x using a test.x. Then we created an object of test class in order to access the non-static variable, and we are printing it value of y obj_t.y, and this is for our local variable. Just comment out this using control and right slanting line. Then we are initializing non-static variable x with 100 using the class name dot variable name, and we are printing it now. And then I'm also changing the non-static variable y value with 200 and printing its value. Okay, and I'm creating one more object of class test and referred using object tt, and I'm printing the y value of that new object. Okay, so the expectation here is once the output is printed, we will go through that why it is printed such value. So mainly we are printing x value. Here it will be 10 and here it will be 20, and since we are changing static variable value to 100 and non-static value to 200, this output will be 100 and this output will be 200, whereas the output of this one will be 20, because when we say test object tt is equal to new test, so there will be a new set of object gets created and loads with a non-static variable and initialized with initial value, not with the latest value. Whenever the new object gets created, its original value gets loaded, its initial value gets loaded, not the latest one. Means this value is with respect to this object, not with respect to this object. Both are two different objects. So let's observe the output. So first we are getting the value of x, which is 10, value of y, which is from here, is 20, and value of x after change, which is from this modification, value of y after change, this is from this change, value of y after new object created, which is from this line getting printed. As I said, the value is 20 because when we create a new object using a new keyword, new object gets created and referred with a new object variable, and all the non-static variable gets initialized with their values. That is the difference which I wanted to show. That is how they are different from static and non-static. So static, which is a kind of global, which holds whatever the latest value you have provided, whereas non-static is as many objects you create, it starts with its initial value. So you can use one object variable for one purpose and another object variable for different purpose. So this is the total topic which we have discussed in the theory class, as well as we also saw the same with the examples. Thank you.